Well, it's disappointing, isn't it? Whenever I'm sitting in a theater waiting for the show to begin, I pray, dear God, let it be a good show, and let it be short, oh Lord in heaven, please. 2 hours fine, 3 hours too much, and keep the actors out of the audience. My God, I didn't pay good money to have the fourth wall come crashing down around my ears. I just want a story, a few good songs. I want to be taken away. I mean, that's the point, isn't it? Amen. It used to be, people sat in dark theaters and thought to themselves, what if George and Ira Gershwin got for us tonight? Or can Cole Porter pull it off again? Can you imagine? Now it's please Elton John, lest we continue to stray. It used to be while you were sitting there in the dark, you knew that once the show began, you'd be transported, taken to another world, a world full of color, music, and glamour. And then you thought, my God, when are they going to bring up the lights? Oh, how things have changed. Hello, how are we today? A little quiet? I'm feeling a little blue myself. A little anxious for no particular reason. A little sad I should be feeling anxious at this age. You know, a little self-conscious anxiety resulting in non-specific sadness. Let's take that at call blue. Anyway, whenever I'm feeling this way blue, I like to listen to my music. So I was going through my box of records this morning. Yes, records. And I was going to put on Meredith Willson's The Music Man. I had a craving for young Ronnie Howard. And then I said, no, let's have a treat. Let's disappear in the decadent world in 1920s where champagne flowed, caviar chilled, and the whole world was a party. For the wealthy, anyways. So I dug about, and what did I find with one of my favorite shows, Gable and Stein's The Drowsy Chaperone. Remember? Music by Julie Gable, lyrics by Sidney Stein. It's a 2-record set remastered from its original recording in 1928, with the full original cast, including Beatrice Stockwell as the Drowsy Chaperone. Isn't she elegant? Now, this was a full 15 years before she became Dame Beatrice Stockwell. Can you imagine? Let me read you what it says on the back. It reads, mix-ups, mayhem, and a gay wedding. Of course, the phrase gay wedding has a different meaning now, but back then it just meant fun. And that's all this show is, it's fun. So would you let me indulge you? Would you let me play the record for you? Yes! I was hoping you'd say that. You hear the static? I love that sound. To me, it's the sound of a time machine starting up. All right. Now imagine, if you will, it's November 1928. You've just arrived at the doors of the Morosco Theater in New York. It's very cold outside. Remember when it used to be cold in November? Not anymore. November's the new August and it's global warming. We're all doomed. Anyway, it's very cold outside, and a heavy gray sleet is falling from the sky. But you don't care because you're going to see a Broadway show. Listen. It helps if you close your eyes. Isn't it wonderful? Overtures. Overtures are so out of style. I miss them. It's the show's way of welcoming you. Hello, welcome. Your meal will be served shortly, but in the meantime, would you like an appetizer? That's what an overture is, a musical appetizer. A poople platter of tunes, if you will. This is new. Sounds kind of dancing. Kind of rollicking, maybe pirates. Don't worry, there are no pirates. Now this is it. The moment when the music starts to build. And know that in just a few moments, you're going to be transported. Take it away.
How do I look?
You look great, Mrs. Martindale.
love this dress so it never goes out of style.
It's a miracle, madam.
My fancy dress. I don't know why I'm wearing it, I must confess. My dress, I love my dress. Would someone tell me why I put it on?
Yes, your dress, your fancy dress. It was such a pleasure airing it, restitching and repairing it. God bless the dress, it's one fine dress, and I will tell you why you put it on. Wedding bells will ring, wedding bells will chime, marry all the hostess and it's happy wedding time. Wedding bells will ring, wedding bells will roll, wedding bells will ding-a-ling and we will ding along. Your fancy dress, we're very, very glad you put it on. Wedding guests have come, wedding guests are here, wedding guests are at the door and soon they will appear. Robert, the bridegroom, my gift will marry Janet. That's Laura Felsing's follies whom I love a lot. George, that's George, his best man George. I'm honored to be doing what a best man ought. Ah, Mrs. Tottenhale. Now don't worry, this whole wedding's gonna run like clockwork. The key is organization, you see. Each string on my finger is a task yet to be completed. Book the minister, pay the musicians, yell at the florist. This whole wedding's gonna run like clockwork.
Oh, is there going to be a wedding?
I felt it, producer. I lost my leading lady. I gotta stop this morning or I might get shot.
I'm Kitty, just Kitty. I came with Mr. Baltic. I'll be a leading lady if I get my shot.
We're pastry chefs. We're pastry chefs. We cross our hearts. We're pastry chefs. No fakery. A bakery is what we got. Adolfo, my baby is Adolfo. I am the king of romance, so I kiss a lot.
You are the king of romance, so you kiss a lot. Wedding bells will ring, wedding bells will chime, wedding bells will celebrate a happy wedding time. Someone hasn't come, someone isn't here. Where is Janet Vandergraff and when will she appear? It's Janet Vandergraff.
I'm Janet Vandergraff, here to marry Robert Martin, giving up our right to forever to time.
Am I late? I'm the chaperone of Janet Vandergraff,
Maid of honor, friend and confidant, and all that brought.
Where's the bar?
It's prohibition, madam.
I think I broke my own. Champagne makes me drowsy.
It's really happening. Truly happening. Almost happening. What is happening?
My tricks, the aviation, take up the sky. I circle through the stratus in my modern apparatus. My tricks, the aviation, I'm not a fly. I'll see you when they tie the knot.
Ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling.
Wedding's coming already.
There we have it, folks. All the guests have arrived. We have a bride, the stage for love. We have an air wedding. A very producer, jovial gangsters pulling together pastry chefs. A flaky Halloween, a Latin Lothario, and an aviatrix, what we now just call a lesbian. And of course, my favorite character, the Drowsy Chaperone. What more do you need for an evening's night of entertainment?
Wedding bells will ring. Wedding bells will chime. Wedding bells will celebrate a happy wedding time. Wedding bells will ding. Wedding bells will toll. Wedding bells will ding.
all ding-along. I don't even know what that means. All right, I'll get you through this record as best as I can. Don't worry, it won't be hard to follow. We begin with the welcome from the love-struck groom.
Well, I'd just like to thank you all for coming. I tell you, I must be some lucky fellow. Why, who would have thought that I, Robert Martin, would be marrying a glamorous showgirl, and that glamorous showgirl would be willing to give up a successful career for me, Robert Martin. Now, if it weren't for Prohibition, I'd say let's raise a glass.
Oh, here, here.
To Miss Janet Vandergrift, the most beautiful girl in the world.
Absolutely not. Excuse me. The groom mustn't see his bride on the wedding day. It's bad luck.
Now, I hope you heard that, because that's the plot. Basically, hang on for the ride.
Breakfast will be served in the Arabian room. Say, isn't it a little early in the morning to be drinking?
I don't understand the question.
Right. Look, you just make sure Janet doesn't run into Robert. You got that? You're the chaperone. That's your only job.
I'm on Capitan.
Oh, Robert, who's my little monkey?
I am. I'm your little monkey.
So the bride and groom are whisked away, and we turn our attention to the B plot, which involves the producer.
Getting married and leaving show business.
Drowsy!
Doesn't she know I got obligations?
Drowsy! I can be your new leading lady. You said it yourself. I'm useless at the chorus.
The last time you ain't got what it takes.
But I've been taking lessons. Singing and acting and ballet.
Ballet?
Yeah, I've been getting pretty good too. Last week I auditioned for Swanee Lake.
A little annotation. Kitty and Felton were a couple in real life, Jack and Sadie Adler. Now, this is a familiar comic construct, a stupid woman and her long-suffering companion. Well, she appears stupid, but in the end does something clever and makes everyone wonder whether it was all just an act. The irony here is she was actually quite stupid. Jack had to explain all the jokes to her, apparently. But still, she lived a wonderful life on stage. Back then, the theater was the only place a stupid person could earn a decent living. That is, of course, until television.
Kitty, I ain't got time for this.
A petite four, Mr. Feltsy.
Not now.
Perhaps a nice prepared roll.
Boys, I'm not hungry.
Then perhaps we can give you something else to chew on. Yeah, something that ain't food.
What?
Your confusion is to be expected. Although we stand here before you in the guise of innocent pastry chefs, we are also, and primarily, employees of a certain individual.
A certain individual?
A certain individual who happens to be the largest single investor in Feltzig's Follies. He has sent us here, pastry chef, to express his concerns about Miss Vandergraft's impending nuptials. Specifically, that if she gets married and leaves the show, then there ain't no show.
Say, don't I know you two?
No, you don't.
You ever spent any time in Toledo?
Have you ever spent any time in a coma?
No, but I do have a cousin in Seattle.
Kitty! Boys, you tell your boss this wedding is never gonna happen. You have my word.
We'll take your word, all right. But to go back on that word would be a recipe for disaster. Now, we hope we made ourselves perfectly eclair. One can only hope. It's gotta be kidding me. A trifle much? Hey, don't talk with me.
All right, you can drop the pastry chef between. I get it.
Alas, we ganache. On the lamb. Lamb's an entree, you macaroon.
The gangsters were played by the Small Brothers, who weren't actually brothers at all. They supposedly hit it off real well when they met in federal prison. After entertaining many of the cellmates, they were hired by the producers of the Drowsy Chaperone to bring an audience.
Leave the matter in your hands, Mr. Feltsy. In the meantime, feel free to browse the dessert carousel.
Trying to little surprise.
It's to die for.
Holy cats! Drowsy! They're gangsters!
Yeah, very perceptive. Now go powder your face. I gotta stop this wedding. But how? Oh, good Lord in heaven, how? How?
I always thought this moment was a little overdone. But with the story well on its way, let's go to the groom's room.
Hey there, handsome. Show me those pearly whites.
Now, the groom was played by the dashing Percy Hyman. His fabulous smile adorned every tube. He started out as an all-bright toothpaste man. Back then, in the 1920s, it was very popular because it contained cocaine. It's true. If you looked at the label, it was the 5th ingredient down, right after sugar. And it wasn't long after he became a huge matinee idol.
Now, it's perfectly normal for the groom to be nervous on his wedding day. It is? Of course.
Now, some people say he was a bad actor, but to those people I say, shut up.
Hey there, Mr. You're a man. Shaking and breaking, trembling like the lady cats do. Something deeply bothering. Cold feet, brother, you've got cold feet. You can make them cold feet hot with a little bit of rhythm. Young feet, old feet can be uncontrolled feet. You can make them cold feet trot down the aisle, across the arches. They can learn to swing. Icy toes can jive. Wedding marches played in ragtime swing. Make pretty souls come alive and take that dive. Cold feet, cold feet, turn them to cold feet. You can make them cold feet hot.
Well, you don't say. Well, why don't you just slide back into your mud hole, you backstabbing word? Well, I guess I gotta find another minister. Say, what are you up to?
I'm singing a Dixie remedy for wedding day jitters.
Oh, good thing you've got jitters. You've got the easy part. I've still got to get rice, boomias, and a minister. I've got the weight of the wedding on my
It
shoulders.
sounds like you've got cold feet.
What do I got?
Cold feet.
What do I want?
Cold feet.
What do I do? Soul beats? No!
You make the cold feet hot. Follow me, Courtney. All right. A 5, 6, 7, 8.
I love to think of him panting and sweating after a long dance routine. I recently saw him on the news celebrating his 100th birthday. Say the past years had taken their toll on him would be a grotesque understatement. They willed him out, and he had that wide-eyed expression of pain and confusion on his face that God reserves for the very, very old. You know the one that says, "Who are you? Who am I? Why is this cake on fire?" You know what I mean, anyway.
That's enough of that dancing around the pool.
Sorry, George. I'm just trying to calm my nerves. It is my wedding day, after all.
Well, you could have snapped an ankle. Tap dancing is too dangerous. Why don't you, go out for a skate instead? That's what I do when I want to blow off some steam.
George, what would I do without you?
Oh, wait, you can't go out like that. You might see Janet. Here. Put on this blindfold.
George, you think of everything.
Just looking out for your buddy. And hey, no more tap dancing. Wedding bells will ring.
Just ignore it.
Wedding bells will chime.
It does this occasionally. It rings. It'll stop soon. Just ignore it. What is it? What do you want? That's it. The moment's ruined. Thank you. Thank you, life. It's like a cell phone going off in the theater. God, I hate that. Hello, how are you? Oh, I'm in the theater ruining the moment. How about you? I couldn't get out tonight, so I thought I'd ruin the moment by proxy. I'm sorry. Let's just shake that off. Let's go back into our minds in 1928. They didn't have cell phones in 1928, but I'm sure they had something for ruining the moment. Like bugles or something. So the scene shifts, and we turn our attention to the glamorous Janet Vandergraaf as she entertains reporters with questions as she lounges by the pool.
Miss Vandergraaf, did you hear that you're giving up a successful career to marry a man who helps no?
Yes. Robert and I met on the leader deck of the Ile de France. He amused me with stories of his father's oil interests. We spooned, briefly, and then he proposed.
So you won't be returning to the stage, ever?
I shan't.
You shan't?
I shan't. One more question.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why would anyone put olives in a Gibson?
Hey, I got a question. How could you give up living in the footlights when you know very well you got grease paint in your veins?
Victor, please.
Ah, Janet, I'm begging you. Dump the mug. Stay with the Follies. I'll give you anything you ask for. I'll Fine. I'll put your name above mine on the marquee.
Oh, Victor, if you think this is about vanity, you couldn't be more wrong. I don't want to show off no more. I don't want to sing tunes no more. I don't want to ride moons no more. I don't want to show off. I don't want to wear this no more. Play the saucy sweat space no more. Blow my signature no more. I don't want to show off. Don't try to control me. I made up my mind, and that's it. I quit. I'm leaving it all behind. I don't want to be cute no more. Make the gentleman hoop no more.
Hey, baby.
I don't want to wear fruit no more. I don't want to show off.
You don't wanna show off no more. Be a man with a new
life on stage. Yeah, can't you see it's killing us all?
Don't worry, boys. This isn't over yet.
Yeah, I'm surprised she didn't do it on.
Hear the audience roar no more. I don't want a show.
That was Jane Roberts as the bride. She was the oops girl, remember? Surely you remember. Don't you people read? She was billed as the girl whose sexual energy was so strong it caused the men around her to have accidents. You know, spill their drinks, drive the cars into trees, and she would go, oops. Well, I'm really not doing it justice, but the people ate it up. She had a whole series of films. Oops, The Oops Girl Come Home, Oops Girl at Sea, which won an Oscar for special effects.
All right. So begging and groveling didn't work. Now on to plan B. And for that, I'm gonna need an accomplice. Yeah. Someone gullible with loose morals. I need a, what do you call him? I need a European. Excuse me.
In walks Adolfo, self-proclaimed ladies' man. Adolfo was played by a former silent film star and world-class alcoholic Roman Martelli. He was the one who later drank himself to death in his chateau in Nice, remember? They found his body 5 days later, and by that time it was consumed by his poodles. Well, it was only partially consumed.
I don't believe we met.
I am Adolfo.
Yeah.
You are Adolfo?
I am Adolfo.
That's the Adolfo.
Yes, I am Adolfo.
Say, that's funny. You don't look like a scoundrel.
Yes, what?
Why, just now, I overheard the groom saying that Adolfo is a scoundrel. I just heard him say that.
Adolfo is a scoundrel.
Those very words.
Adolfo is a scoundrel!
I'm hearing it again.
I can't believe you're saying this to beautiful people. To beautiful women with breasts we're making love. Why? I must.
You must take matters into your own hands.
Yes, I must take this groom into my own hands and kill him!
Yes. No, don't kill him. Just hurt him. Enough so he can't get married.
Yes, show me to this groom.
All right.
Wait! What kind of man is this groom? A big man?
No.
A burly fellow?
Well, he's big on the outside.
No. Adolfo does not fight big men. Small, pale, wheezy little dwarf men Adolfo can fight. No big men.
So you're a lover?
Ah, yes. Adolfo was a lover. Some may say, king of romance.
Well, you know what they say in the The best way to get revenge on a man is through his...
Door.
No. The best way to get back at a man is through his...
Window.
No. Revenge. Back at a man through his...
What is this? There are no other ways. I'm not Santa Claus coming down chimney.
Through his woman.
Through his woman.
Yes. You must seduce the woman.
Yes, Adolfo will make love to the bride. That will show people Adolfo is not scoundrel.
Yes.
Show me to this bride.
All right.
Wait. What kind of woman is that bride? A big woman?
No.
A burly woman?
No. She's the cat's pajamas.
Shaman?
Yeah. You know, like a hooker. Like an attractive woman.
Ah, show me to this Captain Pajama.
All right.
Like a Captain Pajama.
Robin Bartelli, chewing the scenery. You certainly couldn't get away with a performance like that nowadays, could you? Mature contemporary audiences are much too sophisticated for broad racial stereotypes like that on stage, so we banished them to Disney, let the children sort it out.
Underling,
Yes, madam.
the pastry chefs have been kind enough to provide the liquor for the party. But remember, Underling, we must be discreet.
Yes, madam.
It is prohibition after all.
I'm aware of that, madam.
We'll have to use code words. For instance, if someone asks for a glass of ice water, it really means they want a glass of vodka. Have you got that?
Yes, madam.
Are you sure? Maybe you should write it down.
I understand, madam. A glass of ice water is a glass of vodka.
What's a glass of ice water?
Vodka.
Ice water?
Vodka.
Ice water?
Vodka.
Well, you see, that's settled then. One less thing to do. Underling, might I please have a glass of ice water? I found our meeting with the pastry chefs rather trying, and I would enjoy a glass of refreshing ice water.
Your ice water, madam.
That was pure vodka, you poo!
I hate this scene.
Well, now I do need a glass of
Ice water, madam.
Yes, ice water. Are you going deaf?
Would I were.
You can see where this is going, right? It's just a series of spit takes.
That was pure vodka, you poo!
You know, in some ways, the Drowsy Chaperone was quite progressive. A black actor playing the best man, for example.
Your ice water, madam.
That was pure vodka, you poo!
Yes, some elements were quite progressive. Others were stale in 1928. You know what? I'm just going to skip ahead.
Where do you think you're going?
To find some lime juice, madam.
Lime juice? For heaven's sake, why?
I'm going to wring out my eyebrows and make myself a gimlet.
Now, I'm sure you're asking yourself, what was that routine doing in the show? Well, it's very simple. There's a scene coming up, and they needed time for set change. It's mechanics. It's like adult films. Let me explain what I meant by that. In adult films, the story is simplistic. How do I pay for the pizza being the classic example? My point is, the story exists only to connect to the more larger, more engaging production numbers. What kind of society do we live in if I can't explain the similarities between adult films and musical theater?
In a few hours, I am going to be Mrs. Robert Martin. Oh, my head is spinning.
Oh, yes! Life is a mad movie.
Now, this is a very interesting scene. This is the only time in the show that Jane Roberts and Beatrice Stockwell are on stage alone together. Now, Jane Roberts was an emerging star, and Beatrice Stockwell was already well established and a force to contend with.
Oh, I'm so full of apprehension. But I suppose that's normal considering the circumstances. Have you ever been married, Chaperone?
Oh, no. I prefer to drink for pleasure, not out of necessity.
Oh, ice water, madam. I'm afraid we're out of olives.
Have you ever been married, Underling?
Heavens no, madam. If I'm going to serve a woman, I prefer to be paid for it.
You too? I know it seems crazy to give up a successful career to marry a man I hardly know. But somehow, when I look into his eyes, his big, monkey eyes, I get all woozy. And that's love, isn't it?
Not necessarily. The wooziness could be caused by a number of things. I mean, I'm woozy right now. But I'm certainly not in love.
Now, Beatrice Stockwell was known for her rousing anthems. She entertained and inspired people in every major world conflict, up to and including the Falkland War. Of course, by that time she was in her late 80s, and her anthems didn't so much rouse as stupefy, but still, she demanded rousing anthems in every show she ever did, even if it wasn't appropriate. But you just couldn't say no to her. That's the star power.
Really, you're not being the least bit helpful. couldn't you at least allay my fears with a few choice words of inspiration?
Inspiration. Really, dear, that's not my forte.
Yes.
As we stumble on life's funny journey, as we stumble on into the we look here and we look there, seeking answers anywhere, never sure of where to turn or what to do. Stumbling all our way through life's crazy labyrinth, no being left from right nor right from wrong. And the best that we can do is hope and rumor we'll sing his song as we stumble
Well, that was quite nice, Chaperone, but I really don't see how it pertains to my situation.
Oh, let me help you understand. It's a dismal little world in which we live. It can bore you till you've nothing left to give. 7 overrated wonders, 7 underwhelming seas, 6 excruciating continents, Antarctica. Oh, please. You mustn't let it lick you off this planet, oh so bland. Keep your eyeball on the highball in your hand. Then we stumble along. Life's round as we push and we shove, we live and we learn. When we finally meet the mark and we see that morning star, we pull our bootstraps up and homeward turn. Then we stumble away through dawn when the sun beams. No left from right, left from wrong. But as long as we can hear that little rumor, there'll be no sound as we stumble along. As we stumble, fumble, fumble, clumble. As we stumble
Don't you just love her? Basically, she sings a rousing anthem about alcoholism. She does what she wants, regardless of the needs and concerns of others. My mother was like that.
Quite inspiring, Chaperone, but I still don't see how it pertains to my situation. Oh, please, just tell me, is Robert the man for me?
Well, that's just something you'll have to decide for yourself.
But I just don't know if he loves me.
I take my responsibilities very seriously. It's just, however, this moment I'm feeling rather drowsy. And I'm going to have a lie down. Now, whatever you do, don't go into the garden seeking out the one answer on which your future happiness depends.
Oh, thank you, Chaperone. I just have to know if he loves me.
Such a skinny little fool. Still, I envy her. Oh, when will love come crashing through my door?
Look who it is, Adolfo comes to seduce the bride.
I am Adolfo.
Try not to think about the poodles while you're listening to this.
I am Adolfo. You are bride.
No, I am not.
This is the bridal suite. You are the only one in here, therefore you must be the bride.
Interesting argument, but I'm afraid you're immoral.
What?
Me, no, bride. Perhaps I could take a message.
Yes, very good. Dear Van de Graaf bride, I must make love to you and transport you to ecstasy. Better sign Adolfo, king of romance.
Well, you found me out, you self-reliant. Apparently, yes.
Let me a dog face!
No, not Adolfo. Adolfo. Just remember my neighbor when we are making love and you are screaming it. You will say the right neighborhood to spoil everything. What can I need to remember? I'm sure that you have heard the name Adolfo. A ladies' man who wins the claim Adolfo. A lovely miss, I am Adolfo. I introduce myself. I am Adolfo.
Nice to meet you, shall we?
Not so fast! So just in case you didn't hear Adolfo, I will make it very clear Adolfo. Myself, I am Adolfo. I can sing it high, Adolfo. I can sing it low. I can sing it very fast. I can sing it very slowly. I do it now, but it could take now let's see if you can remember my name.
I'll give it a shot.
So is the fellow that you see. How should you refer to me? And who is it I'll always be? Nothing is proudly.
You are proud.
Because you are hard of hearing or something. Come on. It goes.
lover, not a buffoon. But that's what musicals are all about, right? Romantic fantasies. Falling in love at the drop of a hat. Spontaneous kissing. Suddenly finding yourself in the most romantic setting.
I'm an accident waiting to happen. Don't worry, madam. I'm getting married today, so I have to wear a blindfold.
A blindfold?
I'm sorry. Who am I speaking to anyhow?
Why, it's me. Mimi from France.
This scene couldn't be more ridiculous.
You are marrying Jeannette van der Graaf, no?
Oui.
I hear she is very beautiful.
Oui.
And glamorous.
Ah, oui, oui.
Is it true that she has an exceptionally broad range and excels in playing both dramatic and comedic roles?
Say, I'm having trouble placing your accent. What part of France were you from?
Oh, c'est middle part where they make the toast? So you were telling me about your, how do you say it in English? Fiancé? So tell me, when was the moment when you first knew she was the only one for you?
It's a funny story, actually. We were standing on the Lido deck of the Ile de France.
Yes?
I was amusing her with stories of my father's oil interests.
And then what happened?
And then I looked into her eyes, her big, glamorous eyes, and felt all woozy.
And then you fell. And then you fell?
Yes, right on my keister. And I said, well, I guess I don't have my sea legs yet.
But we haven't left the dock.
That's what she said. And then I said, there's a time when you stop and down. Forbearance was one of my talents. But since you've been around, I can't hold my ground. I'm consistently losing my balance. I'm an accident waiting to happen. I'm a risk about to ensue. I'm the toy on the stair, the three-legged chair, the hem that's been caught by a shoe. When my two lovesick arms started flapping, there was nothing my ankles could do. I'm an accident waiting to happen. So how did I happen to you? And then she said,
When men say I'm sweet and they fall at my feet, my heart is a beat and faster. But when you lose control, it touches my soul. So I'm bracing myself for disaster. You're an accident waiting to happen, or catastrophe destined to be.
I'm the rags in the cell.
I can see myself jumping and laughing. Oh, it's dangerously.
I'm an accident waiting to happen.
So hurry and come to me.
I'm an accident waiting to happen.
So hurry and come to Wait a minute! You kissed a straight French girl on your wedding day!
No, wait! What have I done?
Well, it appears the blindfold and big French accent have led to a terrible misunderstanding. Will it all work out at the end? Of course it will, it's a musical. And everything always works out in musicals. Nothing ever works out in real life. And the only people who burst out in this song are the hopelessly deranged.
Now where's that philandering for?
Nothing!
How long does it take to seduce one?
It's a whole thing! You don't need Janet no more!
it!
Oh, no wonder it was so easy.
Mr. Feltsey, it would seem that the wedding is proceeding according to schedule. Now it's time you received your chest desserts. What do you say, partner? Should we whip up something special for Mr. Feltsey?
Yeah, how about a little surprise?
An inspired choice.
The Toledo surprise. Never heard of that one.
No, you haven't. Those who have heard of it are generally never heard from again. Yeah, the rest of you. First, you chop the nuts. Then, you pound the dough. Then you bake it up nice and slow. And then you got your Toledo surprise.
Could you run that by me again?
It's a very simple recipe, Mr. Feltsey. First, you chop the nuts. Then you pound the dough. Then you bake it up nice and slow. And then you got your Toledo surprise. Say, why don't we give him a little taste? All right.
No, hold it! Hold it. What style? What grace and what rhythm? Open your fist. Open. Yeah, what? And now, shake it. And now give me that recipe one more time. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Chop the nuts, pound the dough.
All right.
Bake it up.
Come on.
Nice and slow. Then you got a Toledo surprise.
Now, sell it.
Fit the beach, peel the skin, push it up, throw it in. That's a Toledo surprise.
Now the cooking.
You beat it up, then you sweet it up, and you heat it up. If it tries to rise, don't let it, it's a stop. Try it, folks, but your rights, split your yolks, then you got a Toledo surprise.
Yeah! Kick me up, I'll go work on the contracts.
Hey.
5, 6, 7, 8!
What's going on here?
I'm developing a new act.
Toledo surprise.
You mean you're putting gangsters in the show, but you won't put me in it? Then I get in the union!
No, kidding! You don't understand this new act, it's for you. And these boys are your, backup dancers.
Backup dancers! Holy cats! Run! Not a hot Toledo!
To the bride.
That is not the bride, you idiots! That's the chaperone!
What? The wedding is on!
The wedding is on.
What?
Robert kissed a French girl. Her name is Mimi. She's very beautiful.
Janet, she was just like you, only French. Sweet mother of pearl!
Underling,
Yes, madam.
what is all this commotion about?
It's a wedding.
Is there going to be a wedding?
Not anymore! I mean, what a tragedy. What a wonderful, wonderful tragedy. Clear the floor, boys! I'll show you how it's done! First you beat it up, then you sweet it up, and you heat it up. If it tries to rise, don't let it! Come on, boys! Toledo surprise!
Surprise?
Wait till it's ready!
Surprise?
Wait till it's ready!
Surprise?
Wait till it's ready!
Now let's get ready.
Surprise! Makes me shake, makes me shake. This dessert makes me
I don't like intermissions. They ruin the magic. They yank you back into reality. One moment you're in a wonderful world of music and glamour, and then bang, you're surrounded by tourists, crinkling their candy wrappers and nattering about the lack of women's restrooms. It's cruel. Oh, it's a power bar. I have a bit of a blood sugar issue, so I have to eat small meals all day or I feel jittery. I know it's rude, but you wouldn't like the alternative, believe you me. I remember the day I got married. I didn't eat breakfast, and the ceremony wasn't until 4 in the afternoon. Oh, are you surprised that I was married? Well, there you go. You shouldn't be going around making assumptions about people. I'm a very complicated person. I have to pee now, but while I'm gone, you can listen to the beginning of Act 2. That was not from the Drowsy Chaperone. That was from another musical entirely. I'm sorry. I have a woman who comes in once a month. Can I say that I have a woman? Never mind. She cleans things I absolutely refuse to clean, except she has a bad habit of putting my records away and in the wrong sleeves. Even though I tell her, no touch records, Carmela, no touch records. I suppose if I spoke to her in complete sentences, she'd do what I'd say. But that was another Gablenstein show called The Enchanted Nightingale. A really bad piece of chinoiserie about an emperor who was told by a magical bird to marry his American elocutionist instead of his betrothed and ends up building the Great Wall of China. A slap in the face to 4,000 years of Chinese history. But it still had some wonderful tunes. And did you notice Beatrice Stoffel as American lady and Roman Bartelli as the emperor? Yes, he was a man of 1,000 accents. All of them insulting. Act 2 of the Drowsy Chaperone begins with this. A haunting lament, sung by a very depressed bride as she sings on her balcony in a pale blue light of a sympathetic moon, which is ridiculous because it's the middle of the day. Now, while you're listening to this, try to ignore the lyrics. I know it'll be hard, but block them out, they're not the best. But the tune is beautiful, and it truly communicates the bride's state of mind. Just ignore the lyrics.
always saves that pedestal for you.
I'm gonna get myself a brand.
Come, my little monkey. Come, my little monkey.
Melody is so simple. It just floats in the air. And I must confess, I always get a little bit misty when I think of that tiny jacket lying on the pedestal. Its little sleeves dangling on the floor. Oh, monkey, monkey, monkey.
But I'll always save that pedestal
Pedestal.
for you. Come, my little monkey. Come, my little monkey.
Alright, now here it comes.
Wait,
Who are you?
I'm Janet Vandergraft.
Do you need anyone?
I don't need anyone.
What about the love of a man?
What do I care about the love of one man when I am adored by millions? Do I need to be so gloomy?
No, no, no.
Singing fruits and flowers to me every show. Gertrude sighed, she handed me a rose.
Now she really lets go.
Janet Vandergraft, ain't no nail that I can't hammer. Why give up a life of glamour, life of glamour, life of glamour? No!
I love this part. She's having a complete mental breakdown.
I don't want to dance no more. I don't want to spread mercy no more. Greatest on earth no more. I don't wanna. I don't wanna
Don't you just love that number? It has a little bit of everything. A little Busby Berkeley, a little Jane Goodall. And that's another thing about musicals, is that when a character is in a crisis, they sing and dance, which is way more interesting than whining about it. And that's the glory of musical theater. This is what I'm talking about. You manage to be happy for 5 seconds and then the phone starts ringing.
What a beautiful day for a wedding.
Shall I have the cues moved now, or would you prefer I wait till morning?
Alright, I'm going to stop it here because I don't want any more distractions. Here we have two vaudeville performers who have slipped through the cracks of time. Noel Fitzpatrick and Ukulele Lil. I don't know much about them. I suppose Ukulele Lil played the ukulele. She does it in this show. Actually, I looked through all my books. I even searched the internet. And the only thing I found were Tiny Tim's autopsy photographs. But still, they're both very charming.
Why would you have the pews removed?
bride has called off the wedding, madam.
Oh, underling, never listen to a bride on her wedding day. Love is a very complex emotion, underling.
Yes, madam.
You can be very close to someone one minute, and by the next you just want to strangle them. Do you understand?
I understand the urge to strangle. Yes.
You see, that's just the nature of love. Love makes lovers worry, love makes lovers fret. But here's a fact on which we can depend. Just like long ago when Romeo loved Juliet, love is always lovely in the end.
Romeo and Juliet was a tragedy, madam.
Oh, I never read reviews. Love can start a quarrel, love can cause a din, but love has always been a trusty friend. 'Twas a happy fate for Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn. Love is always lovely in the end.
Might I remind you, madam, that Anne Boleyn lost her head.
Yes, she was in love. Love was good to Eve and Adam.
Here we go again.
And Samson and Delilah too.
Good grief, might I pose a question, madam?
Why, yes, of course.
Why does nothing I say to you ever get through?
Don't mind if I do.
Love is always lovely in the end. I found that quite taxing. Excuse me, madam, while I pull myself without so nice.
Love sneaks up behind you, and love drops from above, but love would never consciously offend. Love has certainly been kind to me, and my true love, love is always lovely in the end.
But your late husband was a brute.
I don't mean him, you silly brute.
Oh, madam!
Love is always lovely.
Lovely, lovely, lovely.
Love is always lovely in the end. Love is always lovely in the end.
Yes, that was charming. But to be frank, on some level, the number pisses me off. Now I'm going to say something here. And yes, I've been drinking, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that love is not always lovely in the end. Often in the end, there are lawyers. And another thing. Was anyone else aware of that awkward sexual connotation of the title? Love is always lovely in the end. I mean, is it just me? I guess what I'm saying here is the number is naive and irresponsibly so. I'm sorry, I just that needed to be said for the benefit of the young people. Don't worry, I won't interrupt anymore. Oh, but there's a moment coming up that I've been obsessed with.
Lord Chaperone, I'm in a terrible state.
You certainly are. You can't go to a wedding looking like that. Your wedding? I'm getting married.
You're getting married? But to whom?
How beautiful anyone baffled expression.
You're marrying Adolfo?
Yes, I know it seems crazy, but when I look into his eyes, his big, clumsy eyes, I get all drowsy. And that's love, isn't it?
Yes, dear. That is love.
There you are. I'm going to put my cards on the table. I've got a weak heart and can't take the pressure. If this keeps up, the old ticker's going to give out. So please, tell me, is there going to be a wedding or not?
Yes.
Thank the good Lord in heaven.
Adolfo and the chaperone are getting married.
What?
Oh, there you are. I have wonderful news. There's going to be a wedding.
Yes, we know.
You know?
Yes, we just heard.
But who told you?
I did.
But how did you know?
What difference does it make?
Mrs. Tartindale and I are to be married in the garden. It's 7:30 this evening.
What?
What? Oh, yes.
Say,
Janet, I've been looking everywhere for you.
Hello, Mr. Martin.
Please don't be that way. Can't you find it in your heart to marry me? Janet, it's our wedding day. George has gone to all this trouble and, well, I do love you more than I can say.
Have you kissed another woman?
Yes. And I just can't understand it. I know this may sound ridiculous, but when I was kissing that French girl, why, it was just like kissing you.
Oh, Robert, you were kissing me.
You mean you're Mimi? Well, that French accent was remarkably accurate.
I developed it while I played the role of Monique. Hold that baguette.
Now there you are. Before you do anything, think about this. No matter how well you play the part of a happy housewife, you will never, ever get another standing ovation.
Oh, I don't know. I'm so conflicted. Oh, please, Chaperone, just this once. Give me some advice that is coherent and appropriate to the situation. Should I marry Robert?
Okay, now here it comes. The moment I was talking about. Not only the culmination of the plot, but a moment that has fascinated me more than any other, and that has brought me back to this subject again and again. Now, here it comes.
Well, my advice to you is...
And this is it, listen.
Lose while you can.
You see, you can't quite hear what she's saying because someone drops a cane. I'll play it for you again.
Lose while you can.
Is she saying, live while you can, or leave while you can?
Lose while you can.
I mean, it's beautiful enough, well, so it may just be a cynical quip, but that's exactly what you're thinking when you're standing at the altar, live or leave. And you have to live because you do love her in some way. It's not an exact science. An arrow doesn't come down from the sky pointing to the one you're supposed to be with for the rest of your life. So one day you say to someone, you say, I love you, but you basically phrase it as a question and they accept it as a fact, and then one day there she is, standing in front of you in a $3,000 dress. Tears rushing down her eyes with her nephew who made the hoopah. So what do? You say, I was kidding, I was joking. No, you can't, you live. You choose to live. And so for a couple of months you stare at the alien in the bed beside you and you think to yourself, who are you? Who are you? And then one day you say it out loud, and then it's trial separation, couples counseling, and all your conversations are about her eating disorder and your Zoloft addiction. And you're constantly redefining and reevaluating and revisiting before you finally lose a deposit on the house and the whole relationship ends up on a particularly ugly note, with your only copy of Gypsy spinning through the air and hitting the living room wall. But still, in a larger sense, in a broader sense, it's better to have lived than left, right? You have no idea how many times I've listened to this.
Thank you, Chaperone. Robert, my answer is yes, I will marry you.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Well, Mr. Drowsy, it looks like this wedding is a done deal. Yeah, now you're in trouble, and there's nothing you can do about it.
But there is. I found a replacement. A new leading lady. Presenting Kitty the Incredible. All right, Kitty. Concentrate and show these boys how you could read my mind. My mind.
Kitty, will you marry me? Holy cat, Mr. Bouncing, yes!
Isn't she amazing?
Well, what are you waiting for? You ladies go put on your frillies. We'll all get married in one big club. That's how they do it in Utah.
George, I don't know how you managed to pull it off. 4 weddings in one day? Looks like you're everybody's best man now.
I am?
Yeah!
I am!
He's George, that's George, the best man, George.
I'm harder to be doing, but a best man.
He's basking in the glory of a fight well fought. Wedding bells will ring, wedding bells will chime, wedding bells will celebrate a happy wedding time.
no, I forgot the minister. Who the hell are you?
My drinks, aviatrix, from the sky to Rio. I was winding with my engine feet bending. I'll fix my navigatrix, and then I'll fly and let your lovers hide. And I started dropping out the garden from schoolhouse in 2 shakes. I'll be off to Rio for Carnival.
Wait! The captain of a ship can perform a marriage! Yes! And the pilot is comparable to a captain! Yes! And the plane is kind of like a ship! What? You know, like some people call it an airship! Oh, shit! Hey!
Here's all the plane and we'll be off to Rio.
Riding home in a chapel may bring us here to Rio. But when lovers thrill, I do in the sky. When bells are set in the middle, daffodils fly.
I do in the sky.
We do.
We do. We do. A bride and groom in a chapel may bring a tear to the eye. I do in the sky. When bells are set in the middle, the leaves and daffodils sigh. When heartbeats rush, when sweethearts gush, I do in the sky.
Up ahead, do you see it?
Oh, could it be? Yes, it's Rio!
No, hurry up, friends, we've got some honeymoon to do.
It's such a thrill when lovers shoot and clouds meandering by. I do.
Oh no. Oh god. Oh. It's a horrible old apartment with terrible wiring. Just concentrate. Just keep the show alive in your head. Don't talk to anyone. Don't let yourself be distracted. I'll find the fuse box. Everybody stay quiet.
Hi,
Hi.
you like Drowsy?
Yes.
Yeah, we have to shut the power off because we're replacing the breaker panel in the basement.
Yes.
So we replaced it. But when you turn the power off, the breakers in all the apartments trip.
Yes.
That's what happens to normal.
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta reset your breakers.
Right now?
It'll only take a second.
All right. This way.
Because I tried calling you earlier, but there's no answer.
Oh, yeah. I've been having a problem with my phone.
Ah, here we go. What was that?
Oh, it was just a record.
What kind of music was that?
It was a show, a musical.
You like musicals?
No.
I love musicals. I go with my wife all the time. It's amazing what they can do nowadays. You know who's Saigon? She landed a helicopter on stage in that one. Yeah, I've seen them all. I've seen Cats, Wicked, Les Mis. Although, I did like the movie better though.
Oh, well, that's Well, that's it. The moment's ruined. One note away from the end of the show, and the mood is broken. I should just play it from the beginning. No, I can't do that, can I? It's just, it's so frustrating. You have to understand, this is my favorite show, and I've never even seen it. My mother gave me the record when I was younger. This was just before my father left us. Oh, he didn't leave because of the record, although I'm sure it didn't help matters. Look, I know it's not a perfect show. The split teak scene is lame, the monkey motif is labored, but none of that matters. It does what a musical is supposed to do. It helps you escape the world, the horrors of the dreary world, and it gives you a little tune to carry with you in your head, or when you're feeling blue, you know? As we stumble along on life's funny journey, as we stumble along